I think we'll start there. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on the 3-step accelerator process plan for law firms. This is with Michelle Peters, the Business Instructor. For those of you who haven't joined our webinars before, my name is Sammy. I'm an assistant consultant at DG Legal. The slides from today's presentation will be sent over tomorrow, and a recording of the webinar will be made available. So if you need to leave at any point, then you can watch it at another time. We are in webinar mode, so we can't see or hear you. So please use the Q&A function so that the speaker can answer your questions. So Michelle is a former practicing solicitor from a Magic Circle firm who now helps the owners of small law firms to have more freedom. She shows the owners of small law firms what they need to do to get the clients and profits they want. She provides a blend of strategic advice, skills training, and coaching and mentoring through her Profitable Practice program. So it's over to you, Michelle, if you'd like to start.
Great. Thanks, Sammy. And hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I just want to say a big thank you to the team at DG Legal for hosting this session, inviting me to speak. I always really enjoy these events. So we're here to talk about the 3-step accelerator plan for law firms, and specifically how to increase clients' fee income and profits without working more hours and even in a difficult economic climate. And you're in the right place if you're a lawyer and you're looking around at what's happening in the world and in the economy and in our industry, our legal industry, and thinking, how do I stay out in front of this? How can I still increase my clients, still increase my fee income and my profits without having to work more hours, regardless of what's going on? How can I not only protect my firm during this difficult time, but also be well positioned for the growth opportunities that will come along in the coming months? So if that sounds good to you, you're definitely in the right place. Sammy's already given me an introduction. Thank you. Just to sort of say that I am the creator of the Profitable Practice program for lawyers, and helping my clients, the lawyers, to get more clients of their own and increase profits without working more hours is my day job. That's what I do on a regular basis, through a mixture of coaching, mentoring, training, strategic planning. And also pleased to be able to say I'm the author of a #1 best-selling book. When it was launched, it's not still a #1 bestseller. I'm not in the charts for years, but I was a #1 bestseller at launch of this book, The Client Magnet Formula for Lawyers: How to Attract and Convert More of Your Ideal Clients. And just to say that if you would like to get the first 4 chapters of that book free of charge, you can get them from this link here on the screen, thebusinessinstructor.com/book-chapters. Free download there of the first 4 chapters if you'd like to have a look at that. My own background, and the reason I'm here talking about this topic, is I'm a former practicing solicitor, a former, not practicing certificate, but practicing solicitor. That's funny. That's the first time I've ever said that. And I started my career in a big city firm in London. I was an intellectual property lawyer, and I did a mix of contentious and non-contentious work. And I loved being a lawyer, but ultimately didn't love the lifestyle of the city lawyer. So I left. And when I left in 2004, after 9 long years, I became a business owner. And it wasn't until I became a business owner that I discovered how little I had learned as a practicing solicitor about key business skills. Skills like marketing, like converting inquiries into paying clients, like managing the money, like understanding profits, like managing a team or leading a team, or indeed leading a business. And it was quite a shock for me, actually, because I thought that my training as a solicitor was going to have given me, a good grounding in how to run my own business. And when I found that I hadn't learned those skills, I was at first shocked, and then secondly, determined to get as good at those skills as I had been at being a lawyer. And so for me, it was a mixture of training courses, mentoring, coaching, and actually working, obviously, of course, in the business to learn and develop the skills. And the business I was in at that stage was not a legal business. I mean, it wasn't an illegal business, but it wasn't in the law. It was a business that was being franchised, and I was working to help the franchise side. I was actually in kitchen refurbishments. And so I, in my case, actually had to leave the law to find out about these business skills. In 2010, having developed these skills, had a lot of training and lots of success in business, I founded the Business Instructor to help lawyers develop these skills and have the right plan and be able to grow their practice without them having to do the extreme thing I did, which is leave the law to discover, about these skills. And since then, I've helped hundreds of lawyers to grow their practice, with many doubling their profits whilst working with me or more. And this doubling of profits has happened even during the last big economic crisis brought about by COVID, and even in recent months as we've been suffering from the economic pressures of cost of living crisis, of the energy crisis, and so on. So that little bit of background about me is really just to explain why I'm here talking about it, and to give you the fact that my background is as a practicing solicitor. Now I'm on a mission to help as many small law firm owners as I can, and some lawyers in bigger firms as well, but primarily small law firms, to have the freedoms that they want in their practice. Because when I talk to people who've set up in small practices in particular, they tell me they did so because they wanted freedom to pick and choose the clients they'd work with, freedom to work the hours they wanted, and financial freedom for themselves, their families, and to support the causes they love. And so that's what I'm here to help with. Right, more than enough about me. Let's talk about you. And let's talk specifically about the challenges that you might be facing, and that might be keeping you from having fewer clients than you want, or less income than you want, or less profit than you want, or maybe keeping you working too many hours. Now, what I'm going to do is there was a handout sent for today to help you take notes. If you haven't got it, I'm just putting the link as a Dropbox link that should work to let you get the handout if you don't already have it. So let's talk about these challenges. The first of the most common challenges I hear lawyers saying to me on a daily basis is that they don't have enough inquiries coming in, or they've got quantity, but they don't have the quality, right? They don't have the right kinds of inquiries coming in. So that's a big challenge I hear on a regular basis. I also hear comments like, we're not converting enough of the inquiries we get, or we're not converting them at the right fees. In other words, we have to drop our fees to get the clients we want, maybe due to competition, because our clients say they can't pay. And so you get the clients, but not at the fees you want. And the third thing I hear, and I hear this one a lot, is I feel like I'm working too hard for the results I'm getting. By results, I mean the fee income that's being generated, the profits that are being generated. It feels like too much input for not enough output. So I've got a question for you. And actually, if you could just type your answers into the chat for this, that would be great. And you can do this in a simple way. I'd like to know which of these three is the biggest challenge for you. And you can just type in the number. You could type in 1 or 2 or 3, or a combination if you want. But I'd love to get a bit of feedback as to what's most relevant for you. Which of these 3 common challenges is the biggest one for you? And I'll try and read the very fast scrolling chat. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 3s. Some of you are 2, some of you are 1, some of you are combination 3 and 2. Yeah, great. Keep typing in. Let me know. This is really helpful. What I can see overall is that there's a spread. Okay, there's some people saying that all of those are relevant, to some or greater or lesser extent. So if you've got any of these challenges, you're not alone, as you've just seen from the little poll we did in the chat there. But what you might be feeling is that you feel stuck and unable to grow despite trying, as if you're spinning your wheels, but not actually moving forward in the way you want to go. And you might be feeling overworked and overwhelmed. This is definitely how I used to feel in private practice. And actually, this is how my desk used to look, because I was an untidy desk person. I'll confess to that. But you might also be feeling like it just feels like it's not worth it. Your pockets feel, relatively speaking, empty for the amount of work that you're doing. And all of this can be extremely frustrating. I've got a question for you, though. I'd like to know, for you, what's the worst part about the effect of these challenges? In other words, what does it make you feel, or how does it impact you, or what's most frustrating about it? Can we have some answers into the chat again for that? Be really good to see, what are you experiencing if you've got these challenges with not enough clients or not enough conversion or working too hard for too little profit. Love to see some of your answers into the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing stress, demotivated, burned out, demoralized, not meeting my targets, work-life balance, like I'm a failure, even though I know I give great service, anxiety, managers being bad at their role and moaning rather than leading. Interesting. Stressed, upset, demotivated, working too hard for too little profit, wondering if it's the right decision to have my own business, agreeing fees and clients asking for discounts like they're fishing around, burnout, no profits is the main one, lack of family time, demoralized. Thank you. You're making me read super fast. Thank you for being, for contributing so much. Yeah, someone says, should I even stay being a solicitor? Okay, some big issues here. And, you're not alone, as you've seen from the chat, okay? And I hear this a lot too. And I want to tell you something really, really important at this stage. And that is that it's not your fault that you feel like this, that you have these challenges, that you have this stress. It is not your fault. And here's why. Firstly, if you're like me, you probably got no training in how to get clients, convert clients, make profit. You probably got no training in that as part of your professional development and training. And you probably just haven't learned another way to do things yet. And you haven't been used to focusing on the skills and the strategies that you need to be good at the business side of what you do, in addition to being a good lawyer. So it's not your fault if you just haven't had that yet. And the second reason I say it's not your fault is you sometimes probably feel a bit like this poor chap on the slide, drowning in a sea of paper of stuff you need to do, whether it's actual paper or virtual paper, and massive to-do things. And it's really easy to get stuck in the, here's what I got to do today, and find it really hard to look up and look ahead and say, well, here's what I need to do to get over there where I really want to be. And you get buried in a massive to-do. So it's not your fault. However, can I say something else as well? It may not be your fault, but it is your problem. And by that, I mean, you've told me and you've told others here, you're feeling stress, anxiety, demotivated, wondering if you stay a lawyer and so on. And therefore it becomes your problem. And so therefore it's really important to say, I want to get in the driving seat. I want to be in control of this and I want to do something about it. So let's talk about the solution. What do you need to do if you've got these challenges and you want that to change? Well, the way forward is to think of this like a journey you need to undertake. So there's a starting point for where you are at the moment with your practice, or your firm, depending whether you own the practice or you're involved in a practice area. There's a starting point of where you are, and there's an end destination of what you want: more clients, more profits, more time off, whatever it is. And you've got to understand that a journey involves understanding the starting point, plotting where you want to go, and then seeing what the journey is going to be, and understanding what are the challenges, the issues that you might face along the way, and what do you need to do to overcome them. Just as if you're planning a hike in the mountains, you'd say, here's where I'm starting, here's where I want to go. And you plot the course and you'd say, right, I've got a mountain to go around because I can't go over it. Or there's a stream, I need to find a way to cross it. There's a swamp I want to avoid. And businesses like this, legal business is no different. So let's start looking at what that journey might need to take into account. And here, I'd really like you to go to your workbook so that we can take some notes specifically together. Now, if you go to your notebook, or your workbook rather, let's have a look at this model. Now, can you just give me a yes or a got it to let me know you've got the workbook and you're ready to work along with this with me as well? Yeah, thanks, Naomi, Laura, Jasmine, Hannah, Chris. Great, lots of people got it. Yep, somebody's just printing. Fine, okay. So here we go. Let's talk about what you need to have in place to get these results. Let's talk about the results first of all. Let's just make sure we're really about the center of this Venn diagram. I'm talking about the results of firstly having, actually I'm going to use a slightly thinner pen so you've got more chance to read my writing, hopefully. Well, we would. Oh yeah, here we go. So more is one of the results we've already talked about, right? result we're looking for. So this is the end destination, the center of our diagram. The second result we're looking for is higher profits. So we talked about more clients, more profits. The third result is to have more time, which means in reality, to get time back, we can't create time. We only have the same number of minutes each in the day and in a week and in a year, but we can get time back from time-sucking activities. So if we want to not work more hours, we need to get time back. So those are the results we're looking for, right? That's the end destination of our journey. Let's talk about what needs to be in place to get you there and to make it happen. And the first thing that we need to be able to do if we want more ideal clients is we've got to be able to attract, as in bring in, the inquiries, but it's got to be, hasn't it, the right inquiries. The right inquiries, not any old inquiries, the right inquiries. And the reason that that's so important is that if we don't have the right inquiries coming in at the right quantity, then when we think about our ideal clients, you know, we've got two situations. We might be in a situation where we have a feast, and we might be in a situation where we have a famine. And you don't want to have a famine, of course, of ideal clients. You need to be able to track them consistently so that you can constantly have a feast and have exactly what you want when you want it. You know, clients are there on demand effectively. So that's why attract is really important. The second thing we need to have in place here is we need to be able to convert those inquiries that come in. It's not enough just to attract them. We've got to convert them into a client at the right fees. So converting by just dropping our fees is never going to help us to have more fee income, have more profit, be able to have time off. We've got to be able to convert in order to both get the ideal clients there and ultimately achieve higher fees. So both of those are important. Now, if we aren't good at converting, here's what happens. Not only do we not get the clients that we want, but we end up on what we call the client generation treadmill. Imagine these are units of time, let's say 30-minute units of time. And imagine that you've got a number of people that you need to talk to get a client. These are unpaid units of time, right? Conversations that you have. And then we've got paid units of time when we do the work. Let's think of these as red units, right? This is not such good time spent. And then we've got time we spent, which is green units where we get paid. Now, if you're not good at converting, you have to talk to a lot of people to get one new client, which means there's too many red dots compared to green dots, too many red units compared to green units. So we need to be able to convert at the right fees, but without having to talk to too many people, which means a high conversion rate is important. If you can talk to 4 people and get 3 clients, then you don't have to spend too much time talking to many more potential clients. You can just get on with the work. You've got 3 clients to work with. Is this making sense? We've got to be able to attract, we've got to be able to convert to have more of our ideal clients and to be able to start generating higher profits as well by converting at higher fees. Now, there's a third part we need. If we want to make sure that we also have time back and continue to have higher fees, we need to maximize the 2 most important assets that you have in your law firm or your legal practice. And those are, firstly, your clients. In other words, the ability to do more work for those clients and generate more fee income and profits. And the other is your time, because we're in a time for money model in law. We trade our time for money. Even if we're working on fixed fees, it's an estimation of time generally. And so it's really important that we can use our time effectively to make sure we turn as much of that time into billable time, which can be recovered from clients. And it's when you add this maximize piece that you're really able to get these other results of time back and higher profits. And if we have any one of these 3 missing, for example, if we don't maximize, well, it's going to be hard to generate enough higher profits and get time back. If we can attract and not convert, or convert and not attract, we're going to be making efforts to get clients, but we're not going to be actually getting them in the quantities they want. So if we're not maximizing, ultimately what happens is if you think about a certain amount of profit comes in, sorry, a certain amount of fee income comes in each month, there's a certain amount you need to bring in to pay all the bills, to pay the insurance, to pay the staff. And that's an amount, that you need to bring in order to what we call survive, right? Pay all the costs. So this is the survive amount below the line. And then above the line, there's a top slice, which you can think of as the thrive amount. In other words, once you've paid all your costs, you've got past the survive level and you're into the thrive. You're actually making profit that can be reinvested, withdrawn, used for other purposes. So we've got attract, convert, and maximize. And what we've got is the need for each of those to be working well for us to get the 3 results that we talked about in the center: more ideal clients, higher profits, and time back. And as I already mentioned, if any one of these is missing, it's like if you've got a red light in any one of these 3 areas, it's like having the brakes on in a car that you're taking on this journey you want to go on. You know, the accelerator's working, the steering wheel's working, but the parking brake's jammed on. It's going to be slow, painful. Something's going to burn out on the way to your destination. So, shall we talk about each of these 3 elements in a little bit more detail so you can start to see what you might need to change around your attract, your convert, and your maximize to start getting the clients you want, the fee income and profits you want, and the time that you want, the time back that you want. So let's have a look at these in turn. So let's start with attract. So attract more inquiries. We're talking about from your ideal clients. Now, attraction has to be done in the right way or it just doesn't work. So typically think about attraction, you might think about marketing, business development activities. We can end up wasting a lot of time if we use the wrong kind of attraction activities or we execute them badly. So let me give you an example of the right and the wrong way to do attraction of ideal clients. So one of my clients, Andrew, is a specialist commercial lawyer, or he was when he was in practice. He's no longer doing it now, but when he was a specialist commercial lawyer. He's one of my very early clients. And he came to me for help, and we started off by creating an accelerator plan. In other words, a plan setting out what he needed to do to accelerate getting to the results he wanted, which was specifically more of his ideal clients. So we sat down, we looked at what he was already doing to attract clients. And a key part of this accelerator process is to identify what you want to achieve, the goals, and then what are the challenges that might stop you getting there. So when I looked at Andrew's marketing and attraction strategies, I could see that he was spending a lot of time on creating articles and content for his website. Just type in the word content for me if you spend time creating content for your website or indeed social media or other kinds of content, because this is going to be particularly relevant for you. So Andrew was spending time creating content, putting it on his website, and he knew that people were going there to see it. Numbers on the website, he could see the visitors. And what he said to me is, I'm really frustrated because I can see all these people are coming to the site and reading my content, but they're not then picking up the phone and, making an inquiry about working with me. And what I could see when I looked at his content was that there was a problem with the type of content he was producing. So Andrew's specific problem that needed fixing was that he was producing a lot of how-to content. By how-to content, I mean, these are clauses you should be including in your distribution agreements. Here's what the relevant code of practice on, he did a lot of work in the wine sector. So, pricing of wine in supermarket sales, here's what it says. And because of that, what he was finding was that he was not getting the results he wanted. Now, I think my screen share might have just stopped working. Can you just type in, let me know if that's actually what's happened? Because if so, I will just restart it if it's not working. You can see magnified. Okay, fine. I'm I'm just going to stop my share and re-share because I think it may have stopped. It's frozen and it's not moving. So let me do a quick rejig of this and get it working. Right, give me a moment, nearly there. Always takes a few clicks just to get these things back up and running. And this is where we hope that technology is going to play nicely and show us what we need. Right, this is looking promising. Hopefully now you're probably seeing my slides, and then I'm going to put it back into presenter mode. And if I change to the slide of Andrew, are you seeing Andrew? If you're just seeing, yeah, perfect. It's working again. Great. Thanks everyone for pausing with me there. So what happened with Andrew was we made a change to the type of content he was writing. And as a result, he saw a 30% increase in inquiries by being clearer on why his clients needed his help. Let me explain what I mean. He had lots of how-to content, right? Here's what you need to do. And so what was happening was potential clients were coming, reading it, thinking, that's great, so helpful, thanks, Andrew, and off they would go because they thought they had the information they needed. And the change we made was to stop giving all the how-to and give more information about why they needed the sort of expert help that Andrew provided, and not just a bit of how-to in a piece of content. And that made a difference of 30% increase. And not only that, but you'll see from his quote here that 36% more of those clients became, or those inquiries became clients. So in other words, the inquiries were better quality. So Andrew was doing lots of content attraction strategy. He wasn't quite using the right content. When he changed it, he saw a 30% uplift without doing any more marketing or writing any more articles. In fact, all we did was change the existing articles on the website. So small changes can add up to a big result here. And 30% increase is great, but you can do a lot more. Let me give you another example. So John T owns a high street style firm in North Wales. So more generalist, and he saw a 1,500% increase in inquiries when he started to be more targeted about his marketing. So instead of doing general marketing for all his services, what he did was specifically during COVID, when landlords were trying to evict tenants for non-payment of rent because they were, businesses were closed, he started targeting them for telling how he could help them resist being evicted by their landlord. Landlords, actually, there was a moratorium on that, but landlords were still threatening it. So he put out some specific marketing and he saw a specific result, 1,500% increase by being specific. So I'd like you to think about how often are you really specific in your marketing, targeting one type of client with one type of issue. When Jonty did that, he saw a 1,500% increase. And as you'll see, this was during COVID, when many other areas of his firm were kind of in lockdown. Courts were not happening, conveyancing was off the table because no one could visit properties and so on. In Jonty's accelerator plan, we'd identified that he should be more specific and also be more specific for the moment, what was going on at the time, and the results, I think, speak for themselves. And another example, just to show you, again, a more specialist lawyer, Stephen, who's a consultant at Keystone, based in the Isle of Man. He created a downloadable guide. I call it a client magnet. It's what my book is about. And as a result, saw 300 downloads of that guide within 2 weeks and £50,000 of new instructions for his high-end service of helping businesses set up in the Isle of Man to benefit from the tax regime there. So £50,000 of new instructions, but 300 people had downloaded his guide because they were interested in setting up in the Isle of Man, and his guide was about the benefits of doing so. So he had a pipeline of 200 and something more people to follow up with over the coming weeks and months. So when you do the right kind of attraction strategies, you can get really strong results. The problem is most lawyers I see are just doing very bland generic marketing that doesn't get these kinds of results. So maybe it's a time to make some change. Right, let's talk about conversion, because attract, as we've said, is only one part of the puzzle here. It's also important to convert more of your inquiries into clients at the right fees. And that means fixing any leaks in your conversion system. You don't want these good inquiries to be leaking out through holes in the bucket, as it were. So again, let me illustrate, some of the right ways to convert clients and some of the wrong ways through a specific example. So one of my clients, Rachel, she's an IP specialist like me, and she had recently set up her own trademark practice when she first came to me for help. And she was wisely using all her contacts and networking opportunities and contacts to get meetings with potential clients. But it was taking a lot of time to convert clients. She was doing a lot of meetings, and maybe out of 10 meetings, only 1 or 2 of those meetings would convert into a new client. So when she came to me to work on her accelerator plan to grow her practice, the first thing we did was look at what was going on in the conversion that she was doing. And what we could see pretty quickly was that there was a challenge around the way she was talking to clients about her services, because she would talk to them, find out what they need, give them a kind of shopping list. You need all these trademark registrations, these countries, these classes, and then presenting it to them with a sort of quote of how much it was going to cost. And she'd hear things like, oh, maybe when we've got more money next financial year, maybe we'll come back to you, we'll think it over. And many were not converting. So the key for Rachel was that she needed to have a better way of helping those clients see 2 things. Firstly, the value of getting those trademarks rather than, these bits of paper cost X £100 each. And secondly, the urgency of registering those trademarks to protect their legal position. And without understanding both of those, they weren't seeing enough value in registering their trademarks to want to invest the money and the time it was going to take them to instruct her properly. They weren't prepared to make that investment to get the result because they weren't clear enough on the value of the result. So Rachel learned some new ways to speak to clients, some questions to ask, some ways to present her services, which we taught her in Profitable Practice, excuse me, to help her show more value. And when she did, here's what happened. Her conversion rate went from 15% to over 90% following a specific system to help clients see more value. And, you'll see the quote there, every client meeting we've had since and during the course that she was studying with me has converted. And the key was to get better at demonstrating value. And there are different ways to demonstrate value. You can show value, you can demonstrate that someone else has had the value, or you can ask really good questions. Jay, who runs a high street firm in Kent, he learned a system of asking the right questions when he was speaking to initial inquiries that meant he was able to double his conversion rate from 4 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 by asking the right questions. And we call these value questions, questions that help your prospective clients see the value of your services so that you don't need to tell them. Because it's much more effective if they can tell you what the value is going to be rather than you have to tell them. So asking the right kind of questions is one really good way to improve your conversion. Okay, so we've heard about attract and we talked about convert, and you've heard about some examples of lawyers who've learnt ways to do this differently. Question for you now, and answers into the chat, please. What difference would it make if you could attract and convert clients like this, like we've just talked about? What difference would it make? Love to see your answers into the chat while I take a sip of my water. Yeah, I wouldn't worry as much about my future. Oh, the future, less stress. Yep. Satisfaction, alleviation of stress. Okay, I'm starting to see the comments are flowing through now. Save time dealing with fewer inquiries. Yes, more time to do the work, in other words. Profitable business, better instructions, fewer messy ones. Yeah, time to focus, peace of mind. Yeah, so there are a lot of benefits. Higher income, meeting my targets, pick and choose the quality work to take on. Yes, love that. Yeah, there are a lot of benefits from doing this the right way. So I want you to be thinking already, what can I be doing to improve my attract and my convert? But meanwhile, since we only have limited time, let's keep going and let's talk about the maximizing part. And particularly, I want to talk about maximizing profits from existing clients. And here, I think it's really important to know that we typically focus too much on new clients and not enough on clients we've already had in the past that we could do more work for, or clients we already have that need more than just the help they've come to us for. And there are 7 profit zones in your business, by which I mean areas of the business that if you increase them, improve the numbers in those areas, you'll increase the profitability of your practice, which makes it easier to hire more people if you want to, or delegate more to others, outsource, take more time off. Only 2 of the profit zones that help you make profit relate to new clients. First one, get more inquiries, and the second one, boost your conversion rate. We talked about those. That's attract and convert. We've already talked about those. But there are 5 that relate to existing or past clients, 5 ways to make more income and profits. And I'm going to list them out for you here. What I'd like you to do is think about which of these are you neglecting because they are relevant for your practice area and you could do more. Not every one of these is relevant every type of practice area, but you'll see which ones are relevant as we go through. Number 3, increase the frequency of transactions, by which I mean how often you do the same service for someone. Are you a wills lawyer and you write to your clients to advise them to update their will every 10 years if they haven't come back to you? Well, could you write to them every 5 years? Could you write to them every 3 years? And point out the sorts of issues that may have arisen in their life that mean they need an update. Not tell them to update for the sake of it, but help them see whether they need a more frequent update. Same applies with employment contracts. Same applies with contractual terms and conditions. Could you get someone to use the same service more often in a valuable way? Number 4 is increasing the size of transactions. So here, think about clients you have who come to you for service A. Do they need service B as well? I mean, the classics are you're selling your house, you get a will. You're getting divorced, you also get a will. But what about they come to you for help to draft terms and conditions for their business, and you help them realize they also need to register their trademarks. They come to you for help with employment terms and conditions and contracts and policies, and you help them see that actually there's some disputes going on that you could help them resolve within the business and prevent them coming to a tribunal, and so on. Number 5, boosting profit margins. This means raising your fees or lowering your costs, or a combination of both. I prefer raising fees because sometimes when we cut costs, we actually cut things that help us make money, like people to generate fee income, or marketing that's working to bring you clients. So boosting a profit margin can most easily be done by raising your fees in conjunction with getting better at conversion. Number 6, getting more referrals. When was the last time you asked existing or past clients for more referrals for people they know? We often don't ask, we just wait. But if we asked and we could get maybe 20% or 30% more referrals than we're currently getting, that's 20 or 30% more clients. And then the last one is improving client lifetime. This means improving the number of weeks, months, years that someone stays as your client and continues working with you, continues referring work to you. Again, more relevant in some practice areas than others, but just have a think and see, is that one relevant for you? So there are 7 there, and I want you to think which one could you do more with? And here's why. Here's why I want you to think about that. The 7 profit zones formula shows us that, firstly, if we have a 10% growth in each profit zone, we'll get an 80% increase in profitability. I mean, who'd like an 80% increase in profitability? Probably most of us. It's much easier to achieve by having a 10% growth in each of these numbers than trying to get any one area to increase by 80%. So that's the first reason the 7 profit zones are important. The second is that you can also realistically double your profits with only 50% more clients if you use the 7 profit zones. In other words, you can have twice as much profit coming in without working twice as hard. Because if you only have 50% more clients, not 100% more, and you get better at marketing and you get better at using your time efficiently, you can actually double your profits without working more hours at all. It's genuinely possible. Now, I don't have a lot of time to go through the detail of how that works, but I'm including in the slides here so that you can look at them later. What we call our profit growth calculator, practice growth calculator. And just to explain to you, down this left-hand side here, we've got the 7 profit zones listed. And in this column where I'm drawing the arrow, existing numbers in, let's say, your business. These might be your numbers, might not be your numbers, but let's assume they are. So number of inquiries, conversion ratio, and so on. In this column, you put the increase that you would like to make in each area. And, broadly, we say start with about 10% on all of them. On this one, you'll notice if you're a mathematician, you'll notice that going from 25% conversion to 35, although it's gone up by 10, is actually a 40% increase. So what we've done here is 10% on most of them and a bit more on some of the others, a bit more on conversion. But what I want to show you is what happens in the results column. And if I highlight it on this next slide, where I've got the red arrow, can you see that turnover's gone from just under 500,000 to 861,000? And profits have gone from just under 190,000 to roughly 380,000. So turnover's up by 81% and profit is doubled. It's increased by 100%. But if you look at the number of clients up here, where I'm drawing the arrow, 140 clients becomes 216, and referred clients 18 becomes, well, let's call that 22. We've got about a 54% increase in client numbers there, but a doubling of profit and 80% more revenue. And if you have a doubling of profit, you can, if you want to, of course, reinvest some of that in more team members to make sure you're definitely not working more hours. So I know there's a lot of numbers on this slide, but I wanted you to have them so that you can look at them for yourself. And just to show you some examples that this really works, here's an example of Sarah, who nearly doubled her fee income using this approach, 18,000 a month to 35, high street practice. And here's another example of a commercial lawyer who's gone a lot further. Rena, by year 2 using this approach, had seen a 471% increase in profit growth. So you can see as a massive growth when using this kind of approach. So if we think back to attract, convert, and maximize, maximize provides the biggest opportunity of all. So question for you. How do you think things would be different for you if you increased each of your profit zones by 10% or a little bit more? What difference would it make for you? Love to know your thoughts on that and to see your comments in the chat. What difference would it make for you if you could put 10% on each of these numbers? I'll give you a moment to type in. Now, starting to see some comments coming through. Thank you. I could exceed my target. I feel I was doing a good job in business and not just clients. Yes. So not just being a good lawyer, but being a good business person as well. Totally agree with you, Laura, on that comment. For everyone else, keep typing in. Less pressure on fee earners, more time to provide a better service, less files, better quality, happier staff, more funds to invest. Yes, I really like that. Keep typing in your comments. Now, let's just recap. Story so far. Here's where we're up to. 1, you know why you need to focus on these 3 essential growth elements of attract, convert, and maximize. Number 2, you've seen what's possible when you use all 7 profit zones to improve your profitability. So now we need to plan out your next step to accelerate growth, meaning more clients, more fee income, and more profits. So let's dive into that in our remaining time today. 3-step process for this, and your workbook is going to help you to work along with this with me. So step 1, You need to identify where you are on the profitable practice scale and where you want to be. And what I mean by this is, depending where you're starting from, you'll need different kinds of strategies. If you're very advanced in some areas like attract, you'll need different strategies from someone who's a beginner. So you need the right strategies for you. And we assess these using something called the Profitable Practice Scale, which is like a ladder, where on the left-hand side of the ladder, we're measuring increasing levels of workflow. And on the right-hand side, we're increasing levels of profit. And everyone in a brand new practice pretty much starts out with client workflow at famine levels, profits at broke levels, because you've invested to set up. And we call this level struggle. And this is the red zone, right? As we start to move up, client workflow becomes occasional, profits are at breaking point, not quite broken. This level's called survival, right? Touch and go, but you are surviving. Moving up, client workflow consistent, profit levels breaking even. We're more into, think of traffic lights, we're more in an amber zone here now. Stability, this level is called. And then moving up into the green zone, feast of clients, profits breaking free, call this level success. But there's a level above this, because at success, you can be really busy and chained to your business. So what we have above it is where client workflow is now on demand. You don't have to keep consuming the feast. You can pick and choose. And profits wise, we're financially free. And we call this level scale, where the business is no longer all about you. It can operate independently of you. So I have a question for you. Can you type in for me, please, with using 2 words, the level you think you're at now and the level you want to get to. So if you're at survival and you want success, you'd type in survival, followed by the word success. Let's see where you are and where do you want to be. Because knowing this is really important, because the strategies that will get you up from struggle, let's say stability, are different strategies than the ones that will get you from stability to success or scale. So understanding where you are is really important. Yeah, some of you are at survival, some of you are at stability, some of you are at success already, maybe you want to go up to scale. Understanding this is the first step to knowing what kind of plan, what kind of accelerator plan you need. Now, whatever level you're at, we need to work out what is stopping you, or what might stop you moving up the scale. And here, what we need to do is think about where are the brakes on? What's making things slow? And we're going to do that. We're going to assess your practice using the traffic light accelerator tool. And here's how it works. It's very simple. What we need to do is, on this chart here, we need to think, are you in the red zone or the green zone? Let's say, first of all, for attract, are you in feast or are you in famine when it comes to attracting the right clients? If you've got, a little bit of feast, but mostly famine, maybe you're an amber light. Can you do something for me, please? Type in the word attract followed by your color. Is your attract green, feast, red, famine of ideal clients, or amber, somewhere in between but needs improvement? What's your color? And what I'd like you to do is put in the color. So let's say you decide that you're an amber. It's quite a lot of ambers coming through. You'd write a traffic light color like this, right? So this is a warning area. This is an area that needs improvement if it's in amber light. Okay. Some of you saying red, occasionally some people saying green. Whatever's your color, write it on. And if you don't have a color pen, just write a circle and write the word amber. That's fine. All right, let's assess convert. Again, how much time are you spending talking to clients versus the time you actually spend doing the work? And are you converting at the right fees? Is this a red? It's a problem area for you. Green, it's no problem at all. And amber, it's a bit of a problem that I need to improve. Can you type for me the word convert followed by your color? Let's see where you are on this, and I'll look out for your comments here. Actually, we could have done this as a poll, but let's just do comments for now. It's probably easier at this stage. Yeah, so I've got some greens, some ambers, amber improvements could be huge, says Sophie. Lots of inquiries not chased up would make a huge difference to the turnover. Exactly. Okay, so if you're red, for example, you'd put a red light here. Fine. And what about maximize? Think about how much money is coming in. Are you in thrive zone or survive zone? Red or green for this? What's your color? Can you type the word maximize followed by a color? I'd love to see some of your thoughts on this. I know we're going quickly. I just want you to do your gut reaction to this. Don't overthink it. One person says thrive. A couple of greens, quite a few reds. Yeah, keep typing in. I'm going to put red on mine. So why am I getting you to do this exercise? Well, what I'm wanting you to do is get a bit of a heat map here and to see what's your order of priority for fixing these areas. If any areas where you've got an amber or a red light need fixing, and you want to fix them so that you can move up that profitable practice scale, and get the results that you want. And if you've got 3 ambers, here's my tip. Look at those ambers and say which one of them is really more red than the others, so that you get a starting point. You get an order of priority to work on them. So if you've got 3 ambers, which one of those is worse? The biggest issue, recategorize that one as red. Okay, so in the slides here, I'll include for you our benchmark of how we define green. So if you were green, you can have a look at those and say, do I meet all those criteria? Am I really green? Or is there still more I could do? But the big question is, where do you have the brakes on? Your reds and amber lights are brakes. They are slowing you down. And what that means is you need to work out the next step, which is how can you turn red and amber lights to green to accelerate your results? And this is about making sure you focus on the right things. I've already given you some examples of other lawyers and specific things that they focused on. So Andrew needed to magnetize clients, draw them to him. Rachel needed to deal with overcoming price resistance so that clients would want to work with her. And Rena worked on mining the client gold, making the most of the clients she had to bring in that 471% increase. So this is what's really important, is you work out what is your next step. What do you specifically need to do in your practice? In other words, which accelerators, which speed up processes and strategies do you need to get your reds and ambers to green? So before we finish up today, and I will take some Q&A, I'd like to let you know about how you could get a little bit more help, if you would like it, to work out your own accelerator plan and understand how you can accelerate up the profitable practice scale. Because I hope today has given you ideas of what you need to do. I'd like to tell you how you could get a little bit more help on the how beyond what we could achieve in a 1-hour time slot today. And what we need to do for you, help you do, identify exactly what you need to do to accelerate getting to a green light in each of these areas. And this is your accelerator plan. And we can help you do that in our 1-day Profitable Practice Secrets workshop. And that's something that you can attend online from anywhere if you would like to get some more help with this. So just in the last few minutes we've got, before I take questions, I'm going to run through how this workshop works so you can see, would it be a good fit for you? So this workshop, if you join me for this workshop, a full day or 2 half days on consecutive mornings, what we'll do is we'll analyze which of the 9 most commonly needed accelerator strategies would provide the biggest opportunity for growth in your practice. In other words, more clients, more income, and more profits. And then we'll start applying new tools and strategies to implement the 3 most commonly needed accelerators to help you get more clients, more inquiries, more conversion at higher fees, and higher profits. So 3 specific strategies that have been used by the clients I've talked about today. And will help you accelerate up that scale by creating a detailed accelerator plan for your practice, so you know exactly what you need to do to get the client's profits and time you want. Your accelerator plan might look something like this, fully color-coded with the names of the strategies that you need around the outside. And these are the strategies that we would specifically work on in more depth during the day together, but we'll also help you see which of the others you need as well. And in terms of the bit more about the details of it, it's an online workshop. We've got two dates coming up, one this year, one into next year. The one this year is online on the 30th of November and 1st of December, 2 consecutive mornings, or on the 1st of February as a single day option. This is so you've got some flexibility about what works best for your diary. Investment for this workshop is £247 plus VAT for a normal ticket. But for DG Legal, we're doing a special arrangement, which is a 50% off coupon, meaning, well, code, meaning you can attend obviously for half price. And if you are interested in our workshop at the 30th of November and 1st of December, today just happens to be the last day for getting what we call an early bird ticket, saving you £50 off the regular price, meaning that you can still use your code, your DG50 code, and instead of paying £197, which would be the discounted price, you're just going to pay £98.50. The early bird closing today is pure coincidence with the fact that this webinar happens to be today. It's not something we've sort of prearranged or anything, but if you do purchase today, that would give you the option to get the 50% discount off the already discounted price. There's a link for registration, which is the businessinstructor.com/workshop, which we will circulate in the notes, and sort of follow-up email rather that DG Legal will send. But I will just pop it into the chat if you want to get that link straight away. Just a quick word of warning: when you go to register for the workshop, you'll see that we use Eventbrite for our ticketing partner, and see people often struggle on where to put the code. Come to select your tickets. Here you would select that you want an early bird ticket if you're doing it today. This is where you click to enter the promo code to put in your DG50. And I just let you know that because often people expect it to be on the checkout page. It's not quite how Eventbrite tends to work. So if you'd like to come to the workshop, I'd love to help you create your own accelerator plan. Looks like this, where you've already understood how to implement some of the strategies. We work on them during the day. And do you remember I talked about Jay Sahota earlier, who went from 4 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 on his conversion, so doubled his conversion. He says practically overnight. Well, it was from attending this workshop. It was from the specific skills we teach at this workshop. So it's, you get the complete strategies when you attend. Now, I think I'm coming in at, just about a minute or two left for questions, and I'm really happy to take any questions that you have. Can I ask that you type them in the chat, because I'm monitoring the chat more than the Q&A box, which somebody has asked about an e-certificate. I think that means for attendance, and I believe that will be, we'll get confirmation that you've attended. But if you've got any other questions that you would like to ask me, be really happy to answer them. Let's have a look in the chat. Do you provide any help training on utilization rates, time recording for billable and non-billable in terms of increasing profitability? Yes, Sophie, that's exactly what we do as part of our Profitable Practice program, help our clients with all those areas, because it's all very well getting the clients, isn't it? But if we're not actually getting the work done and turning it into billables that are recovered from clients, it's not going to help profitability. So yes, absolutely, we do help with that. That, though, is not part of the workshop that I've just mentioned. That's part of our other program. If you'd like some more details about that, do get in touch. My email is here on the slide, or just type in, contact me or something into the chat, and I'll know to get in touch with you about that. I've put the links here, just a reminder that you can get the free book chapters as well as coming to the workshop. Hannah says, do I provide one-to-one help? I do, Hannah, yes. If you'd like to know more about that, I'd be happy to have a chat with you to talk about, what we could offer. Are there any other questions? Naomi says, can you provide a paralegal some assistance with how to manage time properly where there is no support? Yeah, managing time is something that we cover in our program. So Naomi, are you the paralegal, or is it a paralegal who works for you? That would just be helpful. You're the paralegal yourself? Yeah. Feel free to contact me to ask directly for help with that. I'm sure I can give you some tips. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? I'll be happy to answer. I'm just checking in to see if I've missed any. Sammy, have you seen any questions that I haven't answered? I know we're pretty much at time, but I'm happy to take any.
Okay. I believe we have one in the Q&A.
Yeah.
Is the workshop fee per person or per firm?
Oh, great question. Thanks. So if you register to come to the workshop, we will invite you to bring one other person if you would like to. So on a complimentary basis. So if you've got, 10 people you would like to attend, please contact us separately. But otherwise, let's say there's 2 of you that would like to attend. One of you can register. And because it's DG, I'm very happy to give a second ticket on a complimentary basis. So register the first ticket, contact us to let us know you'd like a second person to attend, and we'll happily add them for you. And by the way, we don't mind how many people watch. We're just talking about the number of people that participate. So if you want 20 other people to be in the room with you while you're at the event, that's fine. We don't limit it in any way.
Brilliant.
Thanks for spotting that question.
That's okay. I do believe we're at the end of time. So if anybody has any other questions, I hope it's okay if they contact you directly.
Absolutely. My email's on the slide there, and I'm very happy to take any questions separately, especially if people are watching the recording and have questions.
Well, thank you very much for presenting all of that, and thank you everyone for attending. As a reminder, the slides and the recording will be made available tomorrow. But this afternoon you should receive an email that's asking you to rate us out of 5 stars. If you've enjoyed today's webinar, please do give us some feedback, and we would love to have suggestions of other topics we can do. So our series of webinars continues on the 29th of November, which will be applications under the new appendix, Private Life for our immigration lawyers, with Adam Pipe from number 8 Chambers. So thank you for watching, and good night afternoon, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Great to see you today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.